Hello YouTube, Sign here with Hobbies and Man once again, and today we're going to be talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi one more time. Today we're going to be covering episode 5, part 5 I think is the correct term for it, and we're going to talk about what I liked and what I didn't like about the show, and I actually don't really have too many dislikes because I have a huge amount of goodwill towards Star Wars. If it manages to at least be 50% good, I'm going to like the majority of the episode no matter what, and I'm going to like the majority of the thing as long as it has at least something there for me to enjoy, right? And I think that so far the show has managed to provide me that, but it has been a very difficult road to get to there. The first episode was great, the third episode was good, and I quite like this one as well. So, I don't know, I also noticed that this one was co-written with someone else, and it wasn't just that one guy that was in charge of the first 4 episodes. I think his name is Joby Harold, who also has been saying a lot of stuff that makes it concerning. Like, he didn't know that, Kenobi knew that Anakin was Darth Vader, so I don't know. It's not great, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the episode. So, this episode had Darth Vader being a badass, which is always great. I think that's the one thing that Disney has managed to do well. And I think it's because Darth Vader is unanimously, understood, by everyone. Like, everyone understands Darth Vader is a badass. Darth Vader is evil. Darth Vader does not suffer fools, except Reva. But everything else about Star Wars has been great. Everything else about Darth Vader, specifically in any Star Wars, has always been awesome. I really like everything they do with him. It's the one thing that I think they haven't messed up yet. However, they might mess it up later, and I'm not looking forward to that. But every scene that Darth Vader was in was awesome. I really like that we finally got a flashback, but I think it's a little bit too little, too late. I think that there actually wasn't really too much to learn about this, about the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan in this duel that they had that showed there in the flashback scenes. However, I really like how they did the flashback scenes, but I think that the flashbacks and the introspection of Obi-Wan into Anakin should have been happening the whole series. It should have been something that had been torturing Obi-Wan, and that he had realized that now that he's out in the world, he might be able to actually use all of this self-inflicted torture, all of these things he's remembering, all of the guilt that he feels, in order to learn more about his apprentice, and actually try to beat him this time. And I think that it really hasn't worked that well. I mean, this episode was like a microcosm of what the whole series should have been like in my mind, and I think it worked. However, I think that a lot of it is also because this episode is good compared to the abysmal episode last time, and so it looks even better by comparison, even though if you really look at it, it's probably a pretty middle of the road episode. However, I don't really have too many problems with that. Again, like I said, I have a lot of goodwill for Star Wars. As long as there's something there that I like, I'm going to be willing to basically forgive just about everything. So I am mostly going to be forgiving basically everything that was wrong in this episode. I think Tala's sacrifice was meaningful. It was a lot more meaningful than Wade's last episode, and I really dislike that they spent such a long time on that character in the last episode. I think it was supposed to be like, oh look, the rebellion's starting, but I don't care about Wade, so I didn't really care for that whole minute of silence that they had for this character, even though they completely ignored General Akbar when he died in, what was it, Last Jedi? I think so. So, I don't know. I think Tala was a great character. I actually would have liked to see her more, and I think it would have been cool because she could have tied into Andor. And it would have been cool and interesting and exciting to know that, hey, someone else that knows Obi-Wan is still out there and is still having a mission is part of the rebellion. And it would have been really interesting to see her and Leia have a relationship where, there was some sort of mentorship there. And I think that would have been cool. However, they killed her off because why not? It sucks. I really would have liked her to continue on, and I really would have liked it if they actually did kill Reva instead. I think that the Reva character doesn't really offer anything meaningful, and there was 4 episodes of this character being not not able to be understood because they told us nothing about them. There was a lot of hints and a lot of ways that we could have easily extrapolated what it was from her, but the show didn't actually tell us until this episode. And so her having that and then basically fighting Darth Vader and almost dying, but not actually dying, makes it feel unsatisfying. I've heard that there's probably going to be a Reva spin-off show, and I would have liked it if the Reva show would have been its own thing, away from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, because there was so much effort and so much time spent on this character that really doesn't actually add anything to Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader. So I'm pretty unhappy with the character. I think the actress has done a pretty good job. I mean, when she gets to act well, she does act well. I have no problems with the actress. I think Moses Ingram has done a great job. I can't hate her at all. I don't have any issues with her portrayal. I just don't like the character. I think the character could have been better served elsewhere. It would have been interesting to see Inquisitor show in and of itself, see the history of an Inquisitor, and then see them or their history culminate in one of these major shows without having to spend time of this major show on developing that character. Like if they would have made an Inquisitor show that starts right at the end of Order 66, right at the end of the movie, Revenge of the Sith, and then takes you 3 seasons to get to right before Kenobi starts, and then Kenobi starts, and then episode 3 of Kenobi, he has a confrontation with Reva, where we finally get to see that she has been trying to one-up Darth Vader for the whole time, and that she finally gets to have that chance by joining forces with Obi-Wan, and we get to see that Obi-Wan has put all of the thought process and all of this guilt and self-detriment into account, and then has finally learned how to be Darth Vader, and then they manage to wound him well enough to make him be less agile, because he's actually really powerful right now. So if they manage to wound him in a way that makes him less agile, it makes sense and makes it into the Darth Vader that we know, that's a lot slower in the original trilogy. And I think that would have worked really well. It would have been really satisfying to see that. But that's not how they did it. They just decided to spend, a third of the time that was supposed to be for Obi-Wan on this other character. I also think that the marketing of the show is not as good as it really should be. This show, the same way that Book of Boba Fett could have been different, could have actually done better if they called it something else. Like, who was it? I think it was Steph Sabra on the big thing that was saying that it would have worked a lot better if they called it like Lost Princess of Alderaan. It was either Steph Sabra or Sailor Naboo from Thor Skywalker that said this, and I think that both of them, whichever one of them said it, has a good point. If you had changed the title of the series, and then bait and switched it into the Obi-Wan series that we got, it would have been good. It would have also justified Leia being one of the main characters. It would have also justified having this secondary Inquisitor character, because the story doesn't necessarily actually focus on Obi-Wan. He just happens to be a meaningful side character in that story. And I think that would have worked better. However, if they made an Obi-Wan show, they really should have stuck to making an Obi-Wan show. They should have taken their time on Tatooine, and they should have taken their time to explore Anakin and Darth Vader, and then, done the whole thing. However, that's not what happened, but this episode did have a lot of good stuff. I loved Darth Vader being a badass. I think him grabbing the ship, pulling it down, and then pulling it apart with the Force was awesome. I think that the secondary shuttle blasting off really fast didn't really work, because that should have been happening while he was trying to tear apart the shuttle, the first one, instead of afterwards. I also think that there was some stupid choices in the show, like why did the two stormtroopers take him back inside so that he could escape? That sounds stupid. Why was everyone just waiting around the hangar instead of on the ship, waiting for the right moment? I think that that's kind of stupid. Why did Obi-Wan give all of his shit to Haja when he knew there was sensitive information? Why did Bail Organa send a message like that was so specific and so direct, and was obviously going to be a risk What else? There were some other problems. I would have really liked to have seen Ned B say something to Tala before they died. I think that would have been cool. I think Roken has been underutilized. I think it would be really interesting for him to be a more meaningful character, and he really hasn't been. So I don't know. I think he would have been better. And I don't know. The tweet he said that one time when Moses Ingram was being attacked by racists made it seem like he was a really important character, and he's not. He's a pretty minimal character. I don't know. He hasn't really done much. I would have liked a lot more of him. However, him having a bowcaster was cool. I thought that was awesome. That was really cool, really interesting. It also means that probably some Wookiees were part of the path at one point, which is cool. Maybe that means that Gunji gets to be a character later on in the TV shows. Gunji being one of the what's called Wookiee Padawans from the Clone Wars, who I think shows up in Bad Batch Season 2, according to some stuff I heard about the trailers that they released for Star Wars Celebration. What else did I like about the episode? The flashback was actually cool. I liked it. Like I said, it didn't really offer anything new. And I think that the aging on Anakin's face would have been better. I think they really should have done it. I don't really understand why they choose to do some things and not others. It doesn't really seem like diligent. Like it seems very wishy-washy about when they do something, when they don't. I also think that it would have been better if they had the Imperial March the whole time. Like every time that Darth Vader is on screen, there should be an Imperial March. It is tradition. There has never been a reason why this hasn't happened before, and I think that they really underutilized the original John Williams music a lot in the show. I would have really liked to see it happen and be present in the show. But yeah, I actually like the Grand Inquisitor. He looked a little bit more elongated, like his head looked a little taller. Not sure if that's actually true or if it's just because I'm used to the Grand Inquisitor now. But I like his sassy entrance and his little bit about how revenge definitely leads to survival, the will to live. I thought that was fun. Yeah, it seems like Darksiders just don't die, and it's kind of ridiculous because all of them have been hurt the same way Qui-Gon Jinn has, and they've all managed to survive. And I guess Qui-Gon Jinn was just like, no, guess I'll die. I don't know. No, it's a weird thing. I don't really have an answer for it. I don't really care too much about the answer. I mean, it makes sense. It has been established, and it will continue to work as long as it continues to work. However, I don't really think Reba should have been alive. There really is no reason for her to be alive. There was no reason for her to be on the show, but now that she has been, it's fine. It's part of the lore now. But there really is no reason for her to stay alive. So I don't know. That's it. I did like this episode, even though I seem a lot more negative than in the other reviews. But I think it's just because this is the penultimate episode, and it really hasn't delivered yet. Like there has been no reason for this show to exist yet. There hasn't been anything worthwhile. I mean, there's cool moments, but this story doesn't feel like it adds another episode to the saga, like it adds anything valuable, right? It just adds some cool scenes that they could have just made as promotional material without having to, add it into a show, and it would have worked. Like we could have seen Darth Vader being a badass any other way. It didn't have to be in the show. And I don't know. It hasn't really worked for me. It hasn't not worked for me. Like I don't hate this show. I just don't really love it, and I really wish I loved it because I love The Mandalorian, I love the original trilogy, I love the prequel trilogy, and I love the Clone Wars. So why am I not loving this, right? This is the linchpin, the middle part of the story, the part that connects both. It should have been a home run, and it has not been a home run at all. So I don't know. I'm kind of sad about it, but it is what it is. I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.